Proximity chat is so much more powerful than I think people give it credit for. With games like Arma and Squad, these are at the core of the experience. If you only removed the proximity chat, leaving radios to communicate with your squad, it would fundamentally change how the experience felt to play. Those frantic moments where you're talking to your squad huddled in a bush preparing to flank a group of enemies would have so much less power if you could only communicate through a radio. Your brain would not easily attach the voice to a player character in your mind. I've spoken about it before, but this sort of natural communication really pulls you into the world. Some of the best reasons to play a game like Squad is for the social aspect of it. You can play as an army man in so many games, but very few offer that real visceral experience that these sort of games have, and they all understand the value of giving each player a voice. So before we get into my reasons for New World being worth the hype, I want to address the theoretical elephant in the room. Hype can be toxic, and it is so easy to get wrapped up in the excitement. With New World, however, there is something a bit unique to its hype. As players, we had access to it and played it. We got to experience the things we were talking about. I was one of them. And while the later game portions of the game were not there, in my opinion, I got my $40 out of it during the closed beta alone. For those of you who haven't experienced it, I don't want to sway your opinions at this point. I'm going to break down what I think are some of the most important things that New World does and why I think it makes it worth all of the excitement and hype. I hope I can help you to form your own opinion, as your expectations can differ in what you are looking for in your MMO experience. So first, let's talk about expectations. I think New World is trying to be something wholly unique but incredibly familiar. MMOs were originally designed around multiple players sharing a world and interacting with one another. New World takes a lot of the lessons learned from other genres and smashes them into something almost new. Vast, beautiful, atmospheric open worlds to explore, amazing directional audio including the ambience. These two massive points alone barely exist in the MMO sphere in a modern sense. I can still remember when I started playing World of Warcraft, the biggest part of what took me in was just how easy it was to play and get into the world. I could have these incredible, unique experiences in a world shared by other people. But as gaming has marched on and shown us just what sort of insane feats of ambience and immersion we could achieve with video games, the MMO market was kind of left behind. And maybe that's by its nature. World of Warcraft is over 15 years old. 15 years ago was an entirely different time. And so many of the MMOs that dominate today's day and age look to WoW as a cheat sheet to what makes a good MMO, failing to understand why these things work the way they did in that game. It's clear that New World has taken a good hard look at what makes up the MMO experience, and has laser focused on making these a central part of its identity. One of the biggest changes during this time is audio. Many battle royale and shooter style games have shown just how important audio can be to gameplay, but what of its effect on immersion and just a general gaming experience? I made a whole video about this, but I cannot overstate just how important it is. Our brains are programmed to take voices we hear and to associate it with something. When you hear a voice chat like Discord, your mind has nothing to attach it to. Attach that voice to a location in a virtual world, and that voice has a point of reference. This is the same principle that applies to the ambient noise, but the importance of this is multiplied tenfold, because it is a player character applied to a human model. The biggest caveat for a PvP-centered MMO is that the main form of content is directly from the players. When the players you are interacting with are only able to talk to you through the mechanics of the game, i.e. a text box, emotions are lost. It's very easy to lie, trick someone, or outright deceive another player through text. Disconnecting the player's avatar from the person behind it is very easy. With the introduction of proximity chat, we introduce so many more layers to each interaction. Emotions are powerful, and more raw, real interactions between players in a PvP MMO is exactly what you should want. Some of my favorite memories of my time with the alpha have very little to do with the gameplay bits. I'll never forget this interaction in town. I had just gotten back from farming a bit with a friend, and this man is sitting in the middle of town, begging for onions. He was surrounded by a literal sea of people, but sounded so defeated and alone. After like 30 minutes, we went to leave the town, and as I did, I could still hear this broken man begging for onions. I felt a strange connection with this man. This interaction showed me that the power of voice chat was not to be underestimated. I've seen plenty of people spamming an Ironforge for hours, but for this guy, I felt the emotions in his voice and sympathized with his struggle. The ability to connect with another player like this is what made some of the best experiences for me in the MMO sphere. I spent a lot of my formative years online, and I have learned one truth to any type of multiplayer game. Player interaction is key. Many of the gameplay experiences we have while playing multiplayer games could be had in a single player type experience, and often with better, more fun mechanics. In the age of the live service, many of these games have forgotten that MMOs were the original live service. We didn't play it to get 100 levels in a battle pass, we didn't play them because of daily bonuses, and we definitely didn't play them because the mechanics were the top of the line. We played because the worlds that they had and the people in them made for a gameplay experience we simply could not find anywhere else. To go back to what I said earlier, however, gaming has changed. We have become accustomed to voice chat and immersion even if we don't realize it. There's a strong disconnect in the gaming community between users and usernames anymore, with toxicity being such a major problem in many of the competitive multiplayer games. In my eyes, attacking the experiences that make a multiplayer game unique will never be the solution. Removing social aspects, while that does solve the problem, also hampers the experience as a whole. Many of the multiplayer experiences in today's world have some form of censorship, and that's fine, but all of this detracts from the experience of two humans interacting with each other. Sometimes one of those humans is actual human excrement, but that's part of interacting with people in general, right? Man, I spent a lot of time talking about voice chat again, and I'm not even close to done. Allowing people to use voice chat to speak to other factions adds so much to every PvP flagged interaction. The only games I can even directly compare this to is something like Rust. While you do not lose nearly as much in New World, the added tension of a player being able to fight you makes any interaction just a little bit more nuanced. Add in that you can sneak and hide your nameplate, and this type of natural PvP open world interaction comes to light. I can feel people rolling their eyes about how that means you have to play a certain way. Well, yes, in a way. I don't know when the RPG part of MMO got forgotten, but role-playing is so much more than a character sheet. To give you an idea of what I mean, Escape from Tarkov has talked about adding proximity chat and has said it will be happening in a relatively soon time frame. For me, I am beyond excited for something like that. Part of me wonders if the community in general, however, will even humor such things. The game has been out for a while, and many people have habits that will not change. Many people have also stated they're going to turn it off as soon as it's added in. I think it's important to remember that everyone plays games for different reasons, and damning mechanics simply because you don't think it will enhance your gaming experience is a little silly. There are so many experiences to be had in the gaming sphere, and to miss out on what will potentially be one of the most defining characteristics of New World because it is not efficient is completely forgetting what gaming was originally about. As I said before though, everyone plays games for different reasons. I may remember some of my big item drops in games like World of Warcraft, but it was the time spent with those people who helped me to get them that made those items truly unique and memorable for me. I see so many people running into this MMO with the same perspective they have looked at so many others with, and some part of me hopes that they will find the fun behind the numbers race. New World understands these people too, however, and the questing is really designed around that sort of mindset. It's so easy to just grab all the quests and not look or read about any of them. They all have stories. The objectives are just exactly what you expect from your MMO variety. The game understands this, and often places you will go will use similar or the same style building, stylized depending on what kind of area you're in. I find myself often not even realizing it's happening unless I'm looking for it, because the layout of the areas and the locations of the chests are the important bits, with the layout and hiding places always changing, but following some set rules about where they spawn inside the different house setups. You start to get a feel for where they will spawn and can focus your efforts more. It rewards you for understanding the searching game it is playing. I know this sounds silly, but many open world games have understood the way this sort of find and loot game works in a fun and enjoyable way, but many MMOs miss the fun factor on this completely. And much in the way the questing does, the boxes for loot always have a certain look to them, meaning you know exactly what you're looking for each time. This gives the user confidence and helps to keep them looking around in the world, instead of scraping every corner focusing on one small little item as some survival games do. It goes for a more straightforward approach. The chest and loot system is incredibly good in a game like this, building on the chest system from so many battle royales. What this means for the player is that the process of questing and looting is a skill you quantitatively get better at as time goes on. You learn patterns, locations, how best to optimize your path to get as many objectives as possible. A lot of us take these skills for granted, but New World is trying to push you into building those skills as you level, learning how best to approach any given content. And for a game about the grind and getting players into the world to interact with each other, of course you want your players to learn how to best play and approach the game. A lot of MMOs fail horribly at this, and it rests on the player to learn and understand these concepts. New World strips these convoluted systems down to their base forms, and I think removes half of what makes questing so annoying in my eyes. We all know they are just arbitrary objectives to give us XP and push us into the world. That's fine, and for New World it becomes pick what you think is worth it in the form of town boards complemented by side quests. Faction quests also fall in line here as another flavor of choice. In my eyes, this is exactly what good repeatable quests are. Want this reward? Go grind. They just don't try and put it under an extra layer of fluff. For me, that's great. The focus of the game is player interactions, not the solo PvE experience. And understanding what the game wants to be is almost as important as how you play it. By the time I realized what the game was asking of me as a player, the alpha was nearly over. I had missed out on so much of the quiet moments by being so concerned with leveling and learning. I had found that glimpse of community and fun I had once seen in MMOs. I believe that New World understands what a modern, updated take on MMOs would look like. And while I feel its content is a bit lacking in depth, the proximity chat alone changes the things I personally can do to enjoy the game. I have fond memories of hanging out in Ironforge, just chatting with people, messing around with no progression to speak of. These were the moments where it became more than just a game for me. Out front of Everfall on my server, there was always this big ball of PvP flagged individuals fighting one another. No matter the hour, there was always someone out there, just looking for a brawl. As the alpha went on, people were using text chat, but rarely talking over voice. In the last few days, every time I would go by, I would hear people laughing and bantering between them, fighting and screaming over voice chat. It was magical. It was a moment of community brought on by the people. It was not a moment fabricated because we had to do some quest. It was a moment had because it was fun. When a game creates such memorable moments out of such human interaction, it's no surprise that people are going to get excited. It is these types of interactions that make MMOs the juggernauts they are, and I think the level of hype behind any new MMO is proof that people are hungry for that sense of multiplayer once again. For myself, New World ruined most other MMOs for me. It made me understand why I was so bored for them and what I was looking for in a new MMO. And I know, at least for a month or two, New World will be that for me. I didn't know if I was going to play the open beta or not, but I think I'm going to spend a lot of my time just hanging around talking to people, not worrying about leveling or anything. I wonder if there will be others like me. If that sounds like fun, let me know in the comments. Maybe we can hang out on a server in some fishing hole somewhere. Thank you for watching. I am so effing ready to play New World, it isn't even funny anymore. Making this video did not help at all. At least Timberborn comes out halfway through the month, keeping busy till then.
Easy, you would have been dead. Easy.